We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are Sex People! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth.
Good to see you.
You're looking well.
What have you been eating most recently?
Same as part 1 of this. A bowl of cornflakes. What about you?
Well, Trent, it's a sleepy Saturday morning, and I'm in my new apartment, and my good friend and I, Sophia Alexis, woke up this morning, and Sophia said, "How do you feel about pancakes?" And I said, "Sophia, that's sounding good." So Sophia made us some pancakes, and
Who are you to say no to pancakes?
Truly. Yeah, nothing special. Though one thing that was different is, as you know, most mornings I drink chai, but this morning I didn't, and I'm debating whether I'm gonna make a cup after this or just wait till the afternoon when I get a little tired again.
Cool. I'm realizing, Parth, do you just sort of like eat the same few things you like over and over again? Because that's sort of what I do.
Is that not what humans do? Like, isn't that just what people do? They just eat the things they like?
Yeah, but like, I think my network of things I like is probably...
Is more limited than most?
Uh-huh.
That's an interesting question. I think now that I've moved out, I'm realizing that I have to come up with more things to make.
Precisely.
Because I will get crazy if I just keep eating things with peppers and onion in them, where like that's the main thing. But I think that when I was living at home, like my parents' house, I think I had a pretty wide range of things that we would eat. But on my own, I will say it's become limited because you work a whole day and then you're like, I don't really want to think about food.
Yeah, I agree. Living with my parents and having them prepare my meals, they, being slightly older people, have much more experience with cooking. But when it's me, either paying at a restaurant or left to my own devices, it's like hard to try new things sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm at the point in my life where at the grocery store, I see the value box of cornflakes is $2 off and is promoted with the manager special, and that seeing that orange tag actually gets like my
Your heart pumping?
My heart pumping a little bit, and that's just where we're at. You just need to take those little victories. But speaking of big victories,
wow, it was kind of a big victory getting a guest, which I'd like to get into, but we can't really get into until we go.
Not in this section of the
No, we got to sort of cross a threshold of the intro. So Trent, do you want to cue the intro? Should I cue the intro? Or we could just stay in this in this zone. That's fine too. Just never cut to it.
Let's just hang here, man.
Oh, okay.
What if we never cut to the next part?
No. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So what are you doing this weekend?
Cue the intro.
Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film, where we talk about their experience working on the picture. This week is part 2 with cinematographer Brandon Trost, and we're talking about Naked Gun, part 2. Parth's naked, I'm naked.
We got guns. We brought James Gunn. He's just silent.
Gunn is here. Parth bought a gun this week.
It's true.
Yeah, it has a license. He keeps it in a safe. He doesn't have children. It's all good.
James Gunn, what are you doing over there?
I have a gun. Also, my name is Gunn, so it's like I have 2 guns. That's how James Gunn sounds.
Yeah.
Also, this week was a big get for us because not only was DP Brandon Trost here, director James Gunn returns to the show.
But we're not. We're just feeling like we don't need to have him on. It's nice enough to know that
he just left. Bye, James.
Yeah, see you, James. It was good having you. It just felt a little like it's like he's our friend. We don't really want to just like throw him around just because he's a celebrity. You know what I mean?
No, I don't want to blow up his spot like that. He's just passing through. Yeah, he'll just swing by here and have coffee.
Like, yo, you guys still have OJ?
Yeah, no, he lives just a few apartments over, and he'll come ask for flour.
Yeah.
And he'll just like spitball creative ideas.
And a few apartments over from both of us. And I live in Highland Park and Trent lives in Brooklyn. And so it's sort of funny that he just has places of residence in both of those places. But anyways, someone who does not have a place of residence here, but in LA, is Brandon Trost. And that's because he's worked on very cool studio comedies like Popstar, like Naked Gun, like MacGruber, you know, a lot of
This
stuff.
is the end?
He directed An American Pickle.
Yeah, wait, Parth, am I crazy, or is Popstar like one of this podcast's like token movies? Like that's one of our chosen films.
It certainly is. It's in my Instagram bio. Flatliners, shot by Jan de Bont. Which
Yeah, what a specific reference you're putting out into the world. Like so many people must look at that and be like, what is this guy on?
I know. But the thing is, it's a good litmus test for, are you cool or do you drool?
You know they could be a friend for life.
Exactly. But who we made friends for life with was Brandon Trost. And Trent, I might be crazy, but when I was editing part 1, I was like, this is a pretty long interview.
Okay.
I know we normally do 2 parts.
Uh-huh.
But it might be 3 parts. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still editing the interview. We'll see. We'll see.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I did it again. But without further ado, here's part 2. Speaking on directing, I mean, you've directed the FP and American Pickle with, or An American Pickle with Seth Rogen.
That's right, An American Pickle.
Does having directed feature films, how did that change your perception of the job?
You know, it really does inform and has informed, I mean, every aspect of shooting for me in terms of how it just encompasses, I think, filmmaking in general. It's easy, I think, as a department head where you're very, I don't know, technically specific about what you do. It's like a cinematographer. It's like cameras and lighting, or if it's like makeup or production design or whoever does their job, it's like you can get into this sort of like tunnel vision for what it is to do exactly what you do and what you need to just achieve what you're going to do. But I think when you have the opportunity, if you do, or if you want to have the opportunity to direct and sort of know what it's like to sort of try to organize every single department in a way where you're trying to really tell the story from a certain perspective, a point of view, man, it's so incredibly useful. I mean, for me, almost more than anything, it's just editing. You know, I think editing is the greatest tool and also just educational knowledge for just how to put a movie together and what you can get away with and how to build something. I think I always, even to this day, when I'm working with the director, it's like we're figuring out shots or working on a shot list or whatever, it's like we talk about it from the edit backwards. At least I do, because that makes the most sense. It's like we can get from point A to point B, but you might not need to do this shot if you can get this moment in this other angle. It's really just like understanding everything from a higher perspective, I think is incredibly useful. It's like, you know, I know that we can get this shot to work and not get another shot that answers because we can just do a sound effect in the background and we know that that's going to work and we don't need to do anything else. It's like it's like finding ways to see how it's going to be in the end rather than what you're doing right now, and making sure that everything kind of like works for like the frame you're looking at now might not matter because you know that part you're fretting over isn't even going to be in the edit because you know it'll be in this other shot that we're going to get later. So it's like, it's sort of a long-winded way to say it, just really kind of gives you more of an insight for how to make movies just in general. It also helps me understand as a DP what it's like to work with a director, and knowing like the more time I take as a DP lighting something or setting something up, it's less time that the director has to get takes and to do performance and stuff like that. So that is also something that, you know, I don't take lightly just when I'm trying to do my work as a DP. It's really just like having a foundational knowledge of just making a movie from every single department is so incredibly useful for any job you do, I think, in film, just to know where it sits in collaboration with everybody else and how it's ultimately going to pay off for the director who's just trying to figure it out on their own, you know, and also put it together from their experience, what they want it to be. It's such a collaborative, you know, process. It really has just kind of opened my just awareness to that even more so than I had before, you know. So I love it. It's great. I recommend everyone does it. It's hard as hell, but hey, it's fun.
You've shot a lot of cool comedy movies, and then you've also shot a lot of cool non-comedy movies. Just from a technical DP standpoint, can you talk about how the approach to those are the same or different?
God, it's interesting. I mean, I would say the approach is almost the same for me, no matter what. For me, it's always the story first and the kind of movie we want to make first, and then working backwards from there. You know, whether it's a horror film or a drama or a comedy. And maybe that's the reason why I've gotten into some of the comedies that I have, is because I sort of had approached it as the movie that it is at its core, not for just the silliness or the jokes. It's really like there's always something behind it, like the type of movie that we're trying to make. Like when we did the This Is the End, for example. You know, Seth and Evan very much didn't want it to look like just a glossy comedy. They had real ideas and opinions on just like how the movie should feel. We basically wanted the movie to feel like, you know, The Thing meets Apocalypse Now inside of like James Franco's house. You know, like that was kind of like those were some of our visual touchstones that we were doing for that movie. I love the idea of building worlds for the movies that I'm working on, whether it's small or large. There's still like a world that the movie sits in, and it's really like finding that, you know, choosing it, picking it out, and that's all in prep work with the director and what they want to see, because there's a million different ways to shoot any movie when it comes down to it. It's like, what's the path that you take? And I feel like that is no different for me for any movie when it comes down to it. You know, it's just trying to help the director articulate what they want the movie to feel like when you watch it later. And it's really just drilling into that.
I mean, you've shot like almost every interesting looking American studio comedy, so it's working out for you. But Trent, just to bring it back to Naked Gun, should we go into some scenes just to, you know, if you have anything to say about them?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of scenes. We're going to go through our favorite scenes of the movie and ask you some questions. I have a quick question just before we switch gears, though. As Parth just sort of mentioned, you've sort of specialized in comedy, or you've found a really cool niche doing a lot of that. Do you like select projects that you think like don't fit that mold to try to like not get boxed into one thing, or are you just taking the things that interest you, or how intentional is like the genre?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I feel like I'm definitely already boxed in at this point. Yeah, it's interesting. I do try to sneak in stuff that is not as comedy related whenever possible. You know, it's funny how many different versions of comedy there is out there, though. Also, you know, it's like you could be like, you can be slapstick, you can be in like a dramedy world, you can be, there's so many different versions of comedy that I also find interesting. You know, I also just really enjoy working on comedies too. You know, there's something that I find, I mean, film sets can get so tense and so like, I don't know, full of themselves in like a very sort of heavy, even melodramatic way just behind the scenes that I think doesn't happen as often on comedies. And I think just being able to sit in that space where you're kind of laughing all day and still doing good work for me just is like, I don't know, a fun way to move through life, which I just enjoy. You know, but I am still, it's funny, people ask me like, what do I want to do? What do I want to shoot next? And I often will say anything, because like I really just respond to like a script I think is good or funny or interesting or has, you know, something to it that's a movie that I might want to see or try something new that I haven't had a chance to do before. You know, I feel like there's a lot of different things that I've shot where you could point to them and you might not even think the same person shot them. And that's something that I also try to do, is try to keep that variety going in a way, not just for variety's sake, but because I think that each movie needs to just it like the movie and the filmmakers behind it, I feel like kind of they tell what the movie should feel like. Not it shouldn't be me as a DP like putting my own style, I guess, into it. Like I try to approach the movie for the movie's sake and just let that be what it is. But I do try to get different stuff in there. You know, I mean, I've had that opportunity a lot with Mari Heller, which has been great. You know, with you know, Night Bitch, Can You Ever Forgive Me, The Diary of a Teenage Girl. I mean, those are all very special movies to me. You know, they're all so uniquely different, and also different from just other stuff that I get a chance to work on, that I always sort of jump at the opportunity to work on her films. I've had, it's been a minute, but like I really enjoyed working with Rob Zombie and doing, the horror films with him. He's such an artist and such a unique person to collaborate with. Like it's really rewarding and fun to do that too. The Sonic the Hedgehog movies, man, like they're fun. They're so fun to do. Like everybody involved is so lovely. It's such a like wonderful just team to be with and to work with. And we're starting up Sonic 4 soon, which I'm very excited about. And that's and those are kid movies, but they're kid action movies, but they're kid sci-fi movies. There's all kinds of different genres within those films, and we get to do so much fun stuff. I don't know. I mean, I can't really complain because I've been lucky enough to work on a lot of really fun stuff and different things. And like you said, even in the comedy world, I've done so many different kinds of comedies. Within the comedies, to me, it all feels like I've been able to like flex different muscles. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very much about doing any kind of genre I can get my hands on. And it really comes down to timing too, like what script's available. Sometimes you just also got to work. Like, what's the next job going to be? And sometimes I let that be what chooses the next path. Which has also been fun. So, or people. Sometimes it's like who's the filmmaker involved? Like maybe this is a new opportunity to kind of stretch my legs in a different direction with someone I haven't had the opportunity to work with, and that's exciting. So there's all kinds of different ways to go. But I'm working on a comedy right now that's really kind of like a classic feeling comedy, which I sort of love that tone. It's like it's not really trying to bend the genre of comedy in any sort of specific way. We just wanted to have like a classic, almost like John Hughes kind of feeling to it, or something that was maybe directed by like Frank Oz, like in the early 90s. Like it has like a very just almost like wholesomely dramatic kind of approach, which I'm enjoying very much because it's some, I feel like I haven't done this version of a comedy. So it's like, it's nice to do. But yeah, I mean, if like some kind of crazy horror movie came up or anything, like I'm in weirdly. But, this is kind of where it's landed for me so far.
All right, Parth, now I'm ready for some specific scenes from The Naked Gun.
Awesome. The opening bank scene really sets the tone of the movie. And I think like Liam Neeson eating the gun is when I was like, great, they got it. So could you talk about crafting that? Because it's such such a specific tone to land on. Again, can you talk about getting that right? Yeah,
well, what I like about that sequence in particular is that, I mean, for the first like couple minutes, there isn't even a joke.
It's totally normal.
It's just, well, it's you set up the bank, there's the heist, there's the cops, then you've got like the bad guy comes into the vault, and it's not until he holds up the plot device that says, PLOT on it, we're like, that's the first joke. And like everything up until then is just totally that style of movie, that we were just trying to emulate. I mean, in terms of like how we wanted the opening to feel like the opening of The Dark Knight, basically.
Wow.
Like when he comes in and that whole sequence.
You have any idea who you're stealing from?
We just know who to rip off, I guess. We're just rip off artists for all of our favorite movies. It's like, we think this scene should look like this and this scene should look like that. It's like, and oftentimes when Keeve and I are working together, we'll talk about it like that. It's like, we think this should feel like, I don't know, this specific scene from Waterworld, and we'll be like, okay, I get it. I know exactly what you mean, because like that's the types of movies that we like. But for that sequence, it was that was the first day of our shooting on that movie. Like our very first day of shooting was that bank. We only had 2 days to do it, and to be fair, we had a lot more fight choreography and like stunts and stuff that we like wanted to do, but just ran out of time and couldn't put in the movie, which is also typical. I mean, just the progression of him being a little girl and tearing the face off and revealing himself. I mean, it's a great character reveal too, and that's something that we're really trying to be careful with. And same thing with Doug and Dan, the writers with Kiva. It's very easy to make these like legacy sequels and have every single joke be a, hey, remember this joke that these old movies did? Hey, remember that? Like there's all of this just repeats of stuff that everybody liked, and we very much tried not to do that on The Naked Gun. It's like, it's all very Naked Gun adjacent, like it's all that kind of style and humor and comedy, but we didn't want to do like the same exact jokes, so we're always trying to like invent stuff that fits within that same style. And I'm happy that we did, because I think it to me it feels like it's an extension of The Naked Gun. It's not just The Naked Gun again. And we were really sensitive about that. And that's part of what that's part of why we used the style that we did for the movie. You know, so we wanted to update the look in general. I mean, you're like you had said, like you've seen Keith say, it's like the originals were very much like 50s and 60s procedural detective dramas, and we wanted this to feel like a 90s action movie, and just to kind of like, you know, go step forward into the next generation, even though it's kind of the generation past for us here. We just wanted the nostalgia value to be there, but not be as, you know, precise to just the original style. But anyway, in terms of shooting that bank, I mean, we had a lot of ideas, and we had you know, storyboards for different moments and different gags we wanted to do, and the ones that are in are the ones that made the cut. But in terms of the approach of how we did it, it's similarly still just shooting it like I would if we were doing like a very serious action movie. It's just that he happens to bite the barrel off of a gun and, you know, and just run into frame holding a very obvious dummy, which we also love. Anytime there's like a real dummy in there, like that made us very happy. Shooting people with his finger. I mean, all this, like, just all this, like, it's all just childish, dumb stuff, but it's really just a very Naked Gun. And to have all that, like, just activity happening within this world that we built is just, I don't know, very rewarding. It's very fun.
My biggest laugh of the movie, and I was rolling the first time around, was the extended dash cam sequence with him with the chili dog in the bathroom. Can you just talk about shooting that?
Yeah, I mean, that was also weirdly one of our first days of shooting, and it was all shot on GoPros. We took little GoPro cameras and we fixed like 4 of them inside his car. And we just drove around, and he went through that whole experience. And there was more, as you can imagine. I mean, we did so much with that. But you know, we attached the camera to Liam. Like, I had this little chest rig where the GoPro would just be on his chest. So, like, I think you can see there's at one point when he's pulling somebody over, and the guy pulls a gun out of his glove box, and he's like, "You seem nice," and then he walks away just because he has to crap. But like, you'll see Liam's shadow right there on the car. That's really his shadow because the camera was just on his chest. You know, it was all tiny camera stuff. Even in the bathroom, you know, when he when he shoots the ceiling to get into the toilet, it was all just designed to be small camera security cam stuff. So we tried to set it up so it all just felt very. If it was like, if it either was some kind of security cam or some type of, you just have to imagine it was some sort of collected footage from, you know, any kind of municipality they would have. Like, we just kind of set up angles like that they could cut between. I don't know, it came together so well. There was stuff we had to cut out because we weren't allowed to use. There was a whole 7-Eleven aspect to it that we weren't allowed to use in the end. It was very funny. The
thermal camera, where it's sort of the Austin Powers, you know, silhouette reference. Can you talk about the thermal camera?
I can. It was shot with a real thermal camera. I can say that much. We had to. That whole apartment was built on set. It was on stage, and we built it so that the wall, because to shoot with a real thermal camera, it had to be a long lens. It had to be kind of a telephoto thing. So we had to build that set where the wall could remove and the camera could go way to the other side of the stage, so it could kind of be zoomed in to where it would be on the actual set. We had to bring in an additional, I think, air conditioning unit, like a massive industrial air conditioning unit, to like chill the set so that their body temperature would read more precisely, because if the air is too warm, you don't get the color variation in the I think it's a FLIR camera that they used. We admittedly, though, I did not shoot that part. All that thermal cam stuff was done by the guys at Fatal Farm, who are friends with Akiva. I think they've done like commercials together or something like that, but they came out specific just to do that one sequence and a couple of other little bits and pieces. I think they also created, there's a couple of videos you'll see in the movie where I think when Liam's at a security cam, he goes through like some advertisements before he can get to the actual footage he wants to see. And there's one thing called Muscle Slime and another thing called Gorilla Nut. So like, we basically brought them in to do those two little commercials and the thermal cam stuff. And it's, you know, it's not Liam or Pam. It's Liam's stunt double and it's Pam stand-in. They were there doing that, I think, the day before we arrived to film the rest of the sequence, afterwards. But man, we cut like half of it out. It was longer. There was a moment where he was like grinding sausage, and it looked like he was basically crapping onto the dog at one point. And there was one point where she was like stabbing the dog. It looked like she was stabbing the dog with a pair of scissors, and like there was all this like it kept going and going. Like we had so many good moments there. But that's the one good thing that you can kind of trust in Akiva is his willing to just trim out the fat of anything. Like I love how fast the movie moves. The fact that it's so short,
85 minutes.
Yeah, just like every Naked Gun too. I mean, they're all that short. So, I mean, I think even MacGruber, even though that wasn't technically Keith, but like I think that's like 85 minutes. Like it's such a great length for that kind of joke to just come in and get out. But at any rate, yeah, the thermal camp sequence was really artfully made for how ridiculous it is.
Whoa, Trent.
Whoa, Parth.
That was a lot of interview, but less interview than even Trent was expecting.
Precisely. You should see my face right now, because I've learned just moments ago, rather than this being part 2
the finale.
Of 2, this is part 2 of 3.
Yeah.
And
we're in the dark night of it all.
So just give me like a moment of silence to reorient. I'm back.
Did you think that interview was great though, or?
Yeah, no, that middle chunk of the interview was great, and what's going to be even greater is that final chunk next week. You see, Parth, you adapt, you improvise, you overcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Brandon Trost for coming on the show. He's a very chill guy. You won't, as the listener, be able to tell this, but we had many technical difficulties where our recording site decided to just shut down midway through or, cause problems. And he was very cool about us dealing with that. And for that, we appreciate him very much.
Thanks again to Brandon Trost. We'll finish things up next week. And then after next week, we'll reveal what comes next. Which we were supposed to record today, but only one of the two guests was able to come. One of the guests had technical difficulties, and so we just small talked the other guests for a while, and then we rescheduled for tomorrow morning. Yeah. So that's still going to happen.
Yeah.
But we can't say yet.
We can't say what it is, but it's like if there's any Britney fans out there, I'm toxic, you're slipping under. That's all I'm going to say.
And after this, I'm going to watch, just casually, I'm gonna rip through all the Avengers movies.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna check out the Avengers?
Hear me out. This is just a normal Saturday for me. Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Listen to Britney Spears, Toxic.
Put those two things together, listener. See where it gets you.
The Age of Britney?
Free Britney. I think she's been freed.
She's been freed. Yeah, she's no longer under conservatorship.
All without our podcast help, if you can even believe that.
Well, it happened during the tenure of our podcast, so pre the podcast, she was under conservatorship. Post the podcast existing, she wasn't. So really, listener, make your own. It's really at your discretion to decide.
You think it's like a correlation does not equal causation thing?
Yeah, probably. I would say that probably our podcast had nothing to do with that. But again, you never know. Before it, she was. So
yeah, these episodes, you can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, frankly, wherever you get your podcasts. Look at where you're listening to this podcast now, and then
it's going to be there then.
And then think, hey, next week at 5
a.m. Sunday,
Sunday at 5 a.m.
the Lord's Day.
I could just run this back all over again with a new episode. Complete the Brandon Trost interview. You've gone through about 66.6 repeating percent, and you're like,
well done.
Oh, how does it end? It's like a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
That's intentional. We are like, it's strategic, guys. Everything Parth and I do
is strategic.
Is pre-planned.
Has been planned ahead of time.
Every day has been planned 6 months in advance.
And honestly, like, over-discussed between the two of us.
I'm disgusted.
At how much we discuss.
Instagram. Twitter. Those two.
Check us out on those social medias so you can stay updated. Tell a friend.
Hit the little bell for a reminder. No, kill me.
Write a review.
I just wanted to try that.
Ideally 5 stars. You can do 4. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Below that, it's like, don't, it's not necessary. But yeah, Trent.
I think they actually make you listen to a few episodes of a show before it lets you review it.
I think that's only on Spotify. I think on Apple Podcasts you can just rate it. So yeah, just go tell your friends, just put in some stars. It doesn't even matter to you. So like, what do you care?
But it matters so much to Parth and I and our future. If you don't do this, by next week, the next episode might not come out, and you might be walking down the street, and Parth and I will be sitting there with a little plastic cup extended, begging.
On that note, see you next week, guys.
No,
or maybe not.